There was something, the energy here in Jamaica is so special. And I couldn't quite get it yet, so I was terrified of the Jamaicans because the guys would walk around, trying to hit on you on the beach. And everybody would be saying, I have a big bamboo. And I said, what the f*** is that,
We're going to have to bleep that out. Hey YouTube fam, welcome back to another video podcast episode here at On Deck with Throp, where we have meaningful conversations with different guests from around the world, all about Jamaica. And today we are on location at one of my favorite places to visit here in Negril. This is my number one massage spot, I have to say, the most beautiful massage spot, I think, in all of Negril. And this is where I come to after I'm doing some pretty hard training and I need to relax, recuperate, and rejuvenate. And we have the pleasure of having the owner and founder of Jackie on the Reef, or Jackie's on the Reef, I should say. And I'd like to welcome Jackie to the podcast.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for doing this. I very much appreciate it.
Oh, I'm very honored to be interviewed by you. You're a very good interviewer. I've seen quite a few of your shows and I'm impressed. I said, wow, he does everything.
Thank you very much. And so you have a very interesting background in history in terms of how you came to Jamaica and also really the impact that you had here on the Negril community. So if you would, in your own words, could you introduce yourself to the audience?
Sure. My name is Jackie Lewis, and I'm the proud owner of Jackie's on the Reef, which actually I started building Jackie's on the Reef in 1987, I guess it was, yeah. I had a clothing store in New York on West Broadway. It was the first clothing store in Soho on West Broadway called the Grand Hotel. And my rent went up from 50, how much did it? Anyway, it went up too much. So I decided to give up that work and move on to something else. And I had been doing a lot of personal growth work on myself, healing work. And what I found is that I needed to rest, recuperate, and change my whole perspective of life, because being in that fashion industry was quite stressful. And I had healed myself naturally with a thyroid condition. I healed it in 6 months. That really kind of started the process. I had already purchased the land thinking I would do a spa, but I didn't know what spa business was, really. So I kind of bought the property and thought I would be going maybe years later here.
And what year are we talking about?
1987.
That's when you bought this property?
I know. I purchased the property in probably 1985, 86.
Okay. And then you started construction in 87?
I came here in 87.
Okay.
And I lived in a tent for 5 years. I had built a little, I loved it. I didn't want to come out of my tent, but we built already a room, and then they had built a room for me in this part of the. Basically, I tell this place a temple, and so the room had been prepared for me, and I didn't want to come out of my tent, but I finally eventually came out of the tent.
So just to back up a little bit, when was your first time that you came to Jamaica?
Oh God, must have been in 1970, in the 70s. My store, I had been arm robbed, and so some friends of mine brought me here to Jamaica, and we stayed down on the beach, right next to Treehouse. What is it called? Citronella?
Okay.
What is that?
Oh, I don't know.
Well, anyway, I stayed there, and there was something, the energy here in Jamaica is so special. And I couldn't quite get it yet, so I was terrified of the Jamaicans because the guys would walk around, trying to hit on you on the beach. And everybody would be saying, I have a big bamboo. And I said, what the f*** is that,
We're going to have to bleep that out.
But, they were very aggressive, and I just
Right.
didn't. But yet and still, I would come back continuously. Every year, I would either spend a week or maybe a month, and I would stay up here on the West End next to Rick's and get a house and just like decompress, just because being in that fashion industry ain't no joke.
I can imagine.
And when I was in it, there was no other blacks. Especially, I was selling at the higher end of fashion, and my what are they called? People who buy from me.
Suppliers, vendors.
The people who would come in, my little brain gets crazy every once in a while. But my clients.
I'm sorry. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, my clients were women who were very high profile.
Okay.
Actresses, singers, businesswomen who were on the top of the fields, and so I dressed some really beautiful women, and at that time it was the revolution. It was really interesting. It was the revolution for females, and there were people. Most of the young ladies were wearing coveralls and dressing kind of funky, and I had this beautiful store with nothing but glamorous clothes, and they'd come in. Well, why is that so expensive? Is it gold? Because the dress would be $1,000 or it would be, $2,000 for a gown. And way back in the 80s, that was, very expensive. But the class that I had didn't mind spending that money, So it was quite wonderful. Anyway, what happened with me was I got a thyroid condition.
Okay.
And I went to the doctor, and they wanted to operate. I said, hold on, because I had been doing a lot of spiritual work on myself. And I had taken silver mind control way back in the 70s, which I learned how to psychically heal, astral travel, and meditation. And so I knew that any kind of illness, I started believing that no illness is necessarily out there to kill you. It's about you learning how to change your mind and your body and your thoughts of how you can heal. So within 6 months, I healed this thyroid condition. And that really gave me the feeling that there was something else about life. And people were not aware of it. So when I started building this is what the concept of Jackies on the Reef was. Yes, de-stress, but assist others to wake up and recognize that you have powers that you've not been told you have. And that's basically what we attempt to do here. Our clients coming in, they're distressed, they're messed up, they don't know what, their husband has died, their children have something, and we help them to decompress.
And this was motivated by your own self-healing?
Yes,
I see. And as far as it's a very unique property in terms of its structure. Even when you walk in here, it just feels different, like you're in a different world here. Where did the design come from and how it was structured?
Well, the design came from God, and I just received it and did it. So, every night I would talk to God and ask, what's next? And I would sit by the fire at night. I was all by myself up here, sitting by the fire, talking to God and asking, what should I do next? How should it shape? And that's how this came about. But the structure of the rooms is basically square, and then this is an octagon. I had no architectural plan.
I see.
It's all based on my little head, and the higher forces was directing me, and that's how I live. If I have to do something, I always sit back and wait for the answers, because from my higher self,
And I would even say, how the place is designed, it was very forward-thinking and new age, if you will, even for the time, specifically even how the bathrooms are designed, the open concept, where you have the massage room as well, right on the cliffs, which makes this place like my favorite place to get massages. So that makes me enjoy this place that much more, and how it's laid out. And so kind of going back to when you started the business here, were you going back and forth between New York for a while?
Yeah, but I need to go back myself to rejuvenate myself.
I see.
Because there's nothing here, to give me any kind of There's no music. Well, there's music, but there's no theater. There's no. I used to disco roller skate, so I have a place. I mean, I was very active, and all of a sudden I began to be almost like a monk, just because there's nothing here.
Right.
But when I first started, there was music. There was a lot of great music, Jamaican music. But then after a while, the music has changed, and I'm not interested in dance hall.
I understand.
So, yeah, I have to go back to New York, get my Japanese food, and just see a theater and hook up with my old buddies. And
Right. And so when did you make a full-time transition from New York to Jamaica?
When I first started.
Oh, automatic, right away?
87, yeah.
Wow. That's incredible.
I cut ties and everything in 87. And what really interesting was a lot of my friends thought I had AIDS. Because that was like the AIDS epidemic time, and I was in the fashion industry, and so they just couldn't believe that I'd give up, just walk away and leave. I had $1 million business going, but I just said, that's it, I'm not interested, and walked away from it. And they couldn't, and you living in a tent? Well, girl, what's wrong with you? And I would go back to New York, and one friend says, I got to see you. I got to see what you look like. I'm saying, well, what are you looking for?
Right.
But it was a very interesting time for me.
Wow, I can imagine. And I mean, there's so many eras that you have gone through, from the 80s to the 90s, early 2000s. We're in a pandemic now. What has that journey been like?
Well, this pandemic has really made me kind of start checking of all the things that I've gone through, and how life when I first started was so different. And me being 82 years of age anyway, this technology thing is just, I was trying to put something on internet, and I just couldn't even figure out how to share it just a minute ago, because the technology is so different.
Right.
And so I don't know if I want to be a part of it. And what the sad thing of it is, you can't even go into the bank, to do anything anymore.
Right.
It's just, you have to be online, and I don't know. I don't understand that.
Right. I agree. The pandemic has kind of accelerated the reliance that we have.
Absolutely.
On
and the pandemic is also no money exchange. So pretty soon it's not going to be money. It's going to be Bitcoin and going into your account, which is something I'm terrified because of the people who can crack open your accounts and internet. I think it's going to be a very dangerous time.
I guess now that this being the world that we're in, what kind of adjustments have you made as a business?
Adjustments? I don't know that I have made any. Well, yes, I have.
Right.
Like for instance, right now, for the last year or so, we were not taking really guests because I just didn't want my staff to get sick.
I see.
I didn't want to get sick myself, so I was very happy to keep them away. But I kept the core of my staff. So I have, 3 to 4 people that I've kept with me. And I've got them on rotation and so forth. But anyway, the pandemic has made me readjust. So basically the only thing we're doing is massages, treatments, and lunch.
Okay.
And that has been, we have a nice flow, people coming in, having treatments that have been here before, and they're staying in other hotels. And then every once in a while, I have a guest, like a young lady. And it's been very interesting, but we've all kept healthy.
That's fantastic.
And that's been the key.
And I guess under normal times, normal circumstances, what would be or who would be your main clientele?
Well, my main clientele, I think, is probably females. We get men, not that much, but females seem to be more interested in spirituality. And I think females, but men I think men basically are programmed for spirituality, but they don't know it. So, like, for instance, if you play any kind of sports, if you're soccer or baseball, you have to know what your opponent is going to be doing. So that's why I say men basically know what's going on and around them, but they don't know that it's really connecting to a higher source to be able to focus and concentrate like you do. And many times what I see is some women, when you were a little girl, you played soccer, baseball, but so you know how to focus. But the average woman was trained, rock-a-bye, baby, and, they're trained to focus on, being a mother. And so there's two different females that you'll run into, some that are progressive and others who are caught up in the tradition of life. So, and what happens, I notice, is that many of the women, like, for instance, they get married and their husbands leave them, or something changes, you have a death in the family, or your child, or something happens that makes you realize that you have to take care of yourself. And so that's the client that we get. We get people who are looking for change. And how do you go about changing?
I guess, for lack of a better question, what's the success rate in that? Or what does success look like? I think that's a better question.
Well, I guess most of my clients who leave here are very satisfied and happy with what they get.
I see.
And I mean, many of them have written that their lives have changed.
Okay, amazing.
Because I've helped them to look at something else, and understand that they are very beautiful spirits. And you're not told that. So
I can imagine how powerful and impactful coming here to heal could be for people. I remember I came here I think it was last year, I came here to do yoga. And doing yoga, there was another young lady doing yoga as well. And after we finished, she just started crying. And it was just kind of a release for her. I don't know what she was going through. And the yoga instructor, Sativa, just sat on the ground, hugged with her, and just cried with her for however long that she needed.
Yeah. So that's really, we understand when we've touched someone.
Yep.
Because it's a release. We all have a lot of emotions stored up based from childhood. Basically from, when you're born. And that is something that the pandemic has helped me, because I've been by myself, been here alone, and I've had to kind of, when I fell and broke my hip.
Which happened recently.
Yeah, in February.
Right.
And I had a whole hip replacement. And it was, I realized that I believe everything happens for a reason. So there was no mistake for me not to, falling, because I had lost confidence in myself. And I began to really think, do I want to stay in this field? I go online and you see all these little girls, all beautiful and perfect, and, saying, I don't understand. I'm getting older. Do I have anything to give? Or, so I really lost a lot of confidence in myself. And the pandemic has made me go back all the way when I was a baby to go back and see what happened, and it was when I was a little baby. When I was born, I was too dark in the family, so they wanted to give me to my aunt.
Wow.
And so, my mother wasn't really loving. It was my sister that got the love. Yet and still, she was an opera singer. And, but, I was like the ugly duckling. and I was a success. But, I was successful, and my sister failed. But that was after I left, the house, because I had to pull my little self together.
Right.
But I always was a very strong-minded. If my parents said, okay, go to the corner and turn right, I would go to the corner and turn left, because I knew that they didn't know what they were talking about.
Right. So, I mean, you've been with the property and the business. You've been through a lot. I guess any entrepreneur would go through a lot. And I know I've heard, I guess, rumors of the challenges that you had with, I can't remember which hurricane that it was. Ivan?
Gilbert.
Was it Gilbert?
Oh, no, Gilbert, no. Well, I had just built that little house and my tent but it was Ivan.
Right.
We had 40-foot waves coming in here.
Really?
And so,
off of the cliff.
Yeah. And I just loved watching it, because the day before I had been snorkeling. So how the hell does this happen? So, these big waves coming in, flowing all the way through the house. We had taken everything out of here and put them in the rooms. So nothing was damaged except for the kitchen. So the kitchen was totally destroyed. And all of our dishes and silverware and everything, we found a lot of them on the cliff walking up along the sea.
Wow.
But that was amazing, huh?
Right.
Nature.
Yeah.
You can never, as I say, you never can tell. Nature is like a female. You never know what it's going to do,
Okay. You said it, not me.
Well, it's true. Women, we're one way, 1 minute we're one way, another minute we're, another way. But that's us.
Yeah, I'm not going to argue with you on that one. I mean, you came back from that and survived that. Is there or something that stands out in your head that is your favorite part of Negril? About being here, doing business here?
Right here.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, this is like I live in a bubble, I call it, because I'm removed from the crazy world.
Mm-hmm.
And this place is so relaxing. And I sit here day and night and just listen to the sea and hear the roar, look at plants, watch a hermit crab crawling, watch a bird, insects, because they teach you. You can talk to them. If a wasp or a bee, I'm a beekeeper, but if a bee comes around me, I say, okay, just leave me alone, go away. They understand. We don't realize how powerful, and how connected we are to nature. Trees, you can talk to a tree. Someone was asking me last night, a young lady was here, do I know about water? Yeah, water has an energy. And when you talk to water, it kind of moves a little bit. Everything is connected, but we don't know it. We're not aware, so we're so caught up in making money and looking fancy car. I like raggedy cars, It's not about being fancy.
Yeah, I agree. And I think, sometimes just as a society, we tend to forget that. And this is a great place to reconnect with nature. And I totally agree with you. This doesn't feel like Negril. Even though it is in Negril, we are in Negril, of course, but it is absolutely like a different world. And that's why I really do like coming here, because it's such a great place to decompress and just kind of forget about what's happening, so to speak. And like you said before, a great place to come and heal as well. So I appreciate that about Jackie's on the Reef. And it really is a gem of Negril. And I always recommend people to come, as you know, I always recommend people to come here for massages and just to come and see, just to come and look, because it is that spectacular in my mind.
Well, thank you.
Absolutely. I guess moving forward, do you have any plans? I mean, that's a hard question to ask, right? Plans during a pandemic, because even I'm thinking as that was coming out of my mouth, like yeah, we've had plans for even our property, and nature, God, just has a different plan.
Well, yes, in actuality, I am doing something. I have 3 acres across the road, and
Okay.
so I'm building a lap. Well, I have a bird sanctuary that you can go and sit and just meditate.
Awesome.
But it's overgrown because I've not had a gardener, to take care of it. So we're just starting to clean it up, and then I'm building a labyrinth. And I had Fritz Fitzgerald, who did all the beautiful sculptures up to Ricky Jackson's place.
Okay.
He carves the stone. He did me a Buddha about this tall. So the Buddha will be in the center of this labyrinth. And I say, walk the labyrinth and sit with the Buddha to heal in nature. And I have a cave that I used to go into, and we're cleaning that out so you can go sit in the cave. Then I have these fig tree roots that look like curtains. Yeah, so it's going to be another attraction, so people can come in, have lunch, have drinks, go across and just be still for a moment. So it'll be an attraction of being still in nature. So the trees, and it's still very natural. So that's going to be going to be another attraction because nobody else is doing it. Whenever the world catches up with me, I always have to rethink and reshape something, because everybody's doing massages. Everybody thinks that So, although we're known to be the best, a lot of people don't really know what the best is as far as massages are. So once they get here, they recognize, wow, what I've been missing. But anyway, so we'll lunch, which is what's keeping us alive right now, lunch and treatment.
Do you have any regrets of leaving the United States, leaving New York, and being here?
No. No, are you kidding? I am so peace. In New York is the pressure that is on you to succeed, to be a this, to be lovely. I'm so happy just to get up, put a bathing suit on and a wrap. And I used to have to dress up to the nine every single day, look fantastic, look like $1 million. I don't have to do that anymore,
I guess that's one of the best parts about being in Jamaica, and more in particular, being in Negril. That's one thing I love about here. And I said it on a previous interview that's one of my favorite things of just if I didn't run in the morning, I would go swim. But after every one of my runs, I go out on the beach that's right there, and I just feel so blessed to be able to do that every morning.
Absolutely, yeah. I was just looking at this bird, and what happened was Ayanla did it. Have you ever had a treatment with her?
No, I have not.
Oh my God, she's incredible. She sings.
This is Ayanna Gregory.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Yep.
She was here, and she sings, and she kind of, opens you up and brings in different energy. And the little hummingbird, while she was, I didn't see him, but little hummingbird came and circled around me a couple of times right over my body.
Wow.
And then left, and then he came back and stood there to make sure that I was okay, I guess, but I'm connected to animals. I have a little lizard that loves me back there, and I talk to it, so, just the wonderful opportunity to really, take care of myself, huh?
Is there anything that you miss about New York? I know you had said the theater. And
yeah, that's about it. And my friends, yeah.
And your friends, okay. Do they come down to visit you?
Yes.
I'm sure they love coming as well.
Well, there are a lot of them that are not quiet enough, they want, and it's great, they want to have alcohol, drink a little bit, and what my theory is to help you cleanse your system. I don't say don't drink alcohol, but while you're here, we're trying to clean you out.
I understand.
And help you to kind of detox. You can fast, you can, look at life a little different, and you'll see the difference in your life. Yeah, I drink a little bit of wine every once in a while, but I don't have to have a glass all the time.
I see. Okay, is there anything else that you want to share with us today, Jackie?
No, it's nothing else. It's such a pleasure to be in your presence. I mean, what else can I say, you know? You're such a beautiful young man. This is something your father has done an amazing job on the three of you.
Thank you very much. Means a lot. That means a lot. I do want to share your contact information with my audience, of course. Where can people find out more information about Jackies on the Reef?
Okay, you can go on my website is jackiesonthereef.com. My email address is jackiesonthereef@yahoo.com and also rcn.com. And you can call me at 876-957-4997.
Awesome.
Okay?
Thank you so much for doing this, Jackie. It was an absolute pleasure.
Well, thank you. I'm so happy.
Awesome.
Thank you.
You're absolutely welcome. And thank you all for joining us today. And if you did enjoy the conversation I just had with Jackie, please hit that like button below. And of course, if you are not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. Once again, thank you for joining us, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.
Peace. Bye.
Thanks, Jackie.